like to call this meeting, the Clay County Commission, to order. We will begin with our invocation. Mark, if you'd like to come forward, please, and lead us in prayer.
As we gather this evening for this business session of the Clay County Commission, let us pause to center our hearts and minds. We acknowledge the weight of responsibility held by each of these commissioners representing the citizens and the communities of our county. Grant them a spirit of collaboration and clear insight as they deliberate on the matters before them tonight. In a time of growth and change for our county, may this body be guided by a steadfast commitment to the common good. We ask for wisdom that transcends personal interest, a thirst for justice that protects the vulnerable, and the courage to make decisions that ensure a prosperous and unified future for every representative of Clay County. May the work done in this chamber tonight be marked by respect, transparency, and a sincere dedication to the people that we serve. Amen.
Thank you. Tonight we have a special guest helping us with our Pledge of Allegiance, Wyatt Gorslin. Could you come forward, please, Wyatt? Wyatt is a scout with unit Air 271. Would you like to talk a little about yourself before we lead us in the pledge?
I am a Cub Scout, almost a Boy Scout in March 1st. I go to Meadowbrook Elementary, and I'm the Arrow Light 271.
And Wyatt was able to help us this evening pass out some of the agendas that you all have tonight, so he's been doing a little bit of service work for the county. Thank you very much. With that, Wyatt, could you lead us, Wyatt, could you lead us in the pledge? And the flag's right here behind you, so. Yeah, I'm not sure how to line this up.
Yeah.
Can we scoot that over a little bit? If you could stand there, that way I think the mic will pick you up okay. Please go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We all benefit from having almost uniformly someone come in and do our invocation as opposed to doing it ourselves. I would say to commissioners, if you have someone that you would like to give our pledge, I would appreciate it knowing it a little in advance so I can make sure that the meetings go smoothly. But certainly I think we might do well to have some of the members of our community, especially scouts, come forward and lead us in the pledge. And I think it's particularly poignant that we have a young person doing it, but there is no age limit on patriotism. With that, thank you very much. Let's go ahead and call roll.
Commissioner Nolte?
Here.
Commissioner Withington?
Here.
Commissioner Lawson? Here. Commissioner Wagner? Here. Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Here.
Thank you. Next is approval of the agenda. Commissioner Withington, were you seeking recognition? Yeah. Okay. Are you wanting to make a motion, or did you have something else you want to say?
We're on the agenda, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had it about the agenda.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Withington, you are recognized first.
Yeah, I would like to move 2026, 42, 43, and 44 to the regular agenda.
Let me repeat that just to make sure we have it straight. You would like to take items 20, 26, 42, 43, and 44 and move them from the consent agenda to our regular agenda. And I think what we have done in the past, and if this is okay with you, we'll just put them at the bottom of our regular agenda.
I don't care where it's at on the agenda.
Very well. Anything else on the agenda before I go to Commissioner Johnson? Seeing none, Commissioner Johnson, you are recognized.
Move to approve tonight's agenda. Do you want me to add all that?
Just as proposed.
As proposed.
I think that covers it. So motion has been made to approve this evening's agenda with the proposed changes from Commissioner Withington. Discussion. Seeing none, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next on the agenda are ceremonial matters. Mr. Administrator, I believe we have one issue on there. Could you introduce that for us?
Yes, we have 2026-46 honorary resolution for Deputy Chase Blatt. We have Commissioner Whittington, and we'll take the rest from there.
Very good. Commissioner, you are recognized.
All right, so the resolution says, whereas school resource deputies serve a vital role in protecting the safety, well-being, and emotional health of students within the North Kansas City School District, often acting as mentors, trusted adults, and crisis responders. And whereas Deputy Chase Blatt, while serving in his capacity as a school resource deputy, responded immediately upon hearing a student in distress at the top of a stairwell, where the student expressed intent to harm themselves. And whereas Deputy Blatt acted swiftly, calmly, and with extraordinary compassion by safely removing the student from immediate danger and relocating them to a secure classroom environment. And whereas Deputy Blatt coordinated with school counselors and administrators to ensure the student received immediate emotional support and intervention. And whereas therefore, through patience, empathy, and professional crisis de-escalation, Deputy Blatt helped the student process their feelings and restore a sense of safety and hope. And whereas the student later shared that Deputy Blatt's timely intervention prevented a tragic outcome. And whereas this incident exemplifies the critical and often unseen work of school resource deputies, whose duties extend beyond traditional policing to mentorship, crisis intervention, and life-saving compassion. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Clay County Commission hereby recognize Deputy Chase Blatt for his outstanding courage, professionalism, and safeguarding the life of a student in crisis. And be it further resolved that Deputy Blatt's actions reflect the highest standard of public service and serve as a powerful example of the positive impact school resource deputies have within the North Kansas City School District and the broader community. And be it further resolved that the Clay County Commission express its deep gratitude to Deputy Blatt and to all school resource deputies who dedicate themselves daily to protecting, mentoring, and supporting the youth of our community. So joining us tonight, we have Deputy Blatt and other members of the School Resource Department and Sheriff's Office, and thank you for all that you guys do. You know, I've been able to get to know every single one of the school resource deputies. We had them here we recognized all of them a few years ago, but getting to see all you guys at my kids' schools and, you know, Friday night football games and everything. So, you know, you guys play a really important role in the development of our youth, and thank you for everything you do, and thank you for helping to save this kid's life.
Any commissioners who would like to comment any further on this? I'll just say I think that we all agree wholeheartedly with Commissioner Withington. These are officers whose work is sometimes overlooked, but situations like this and the prevention of a tragedy underscore just how absolutely vital these law enforcement professionals are. You can't really know the value until they're put to the test, and I think we owe them all a great debt of gratitude for the work that we see them do, but almost as importantly, the work that we don't see, the everyday time that you put in to make sure that our students are safe and that they are able to continue their educational process in an orderly manner. So certainly, I applaud Commissioner Withington for coming up with this resolution. Are there any others? Deputy Blatt, did you want to say anything? Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to make comment before we go ahead and present the resolution? Mr. Sheriff, I was hoping you would say something. I know you've always got great things to say. He will. Proceed.
Good evening, Commissioners. Will Aiken, Clay County Sheriff. I can't speak or say enough about our school resource deputies and everything that they do. This particular incident was actually brought to our attention by someone else within the school district who wanted to recognize Deputy Blatt for what he did. Because oftentimes, we don't hear about the work that the school resource deputies do. But when we do hear, we want to celebrate them because this is the epitome of the example that they illustrate in the school district. I mean, we're talking about every day, our school resource deputies have interaction with these students, and sometimes they're in crisis. I unfortunately have a friend in Ohio who had a recent suicide in one of the schools. And he happens to be the city manager, and he reached out to our group and he said, hey, what are you doing to address situations like this? And I said, do you have a school resource unit? I still haven't heard back from him because I'm sure they're dealing with a lot right now. But because of what we do in the North Kansas City School District and our partnerships with the other school districts, this is something that I share with even, within my network across the country. School resource deputies, as they are for the sheriff's office, but school resource officers for the police departments play a very pivotal role in our community, not just with the kids, because kids have families. And when we do have a tragedy strike, it's not just the family, it's not just the school, it's the community that suffers from it. And so school resource deputies play a vital role in our community. And again, I can't say enough about it, but I want to thank all of you for recognizing the work that they do. Commissioner Whittington, when you did the resolution to recognize school resource deputies and school resource officers, that was awesome. But then taking the time to recognize Deputy Chase Blatt for doing an exceptional job. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we all appreciate your leadership in this and other issues. Being able to share the experiences that we have here in Clay County with your colleagues, I think is a reason why we are so proud of you as a sheriff, and why the entire sheriff's team is something that we all look to with a great deal of pride, and I think it provides leadership to so many other law enforcement professionals, so thank you very much for that. Any other comments? Or if not, we will go ahead and present the resolution. The Commissioner, you have it with you, right? Good job.
He may not say anything, but he's going to have to take a picture.
You'll look here for 1 moment, please. 1, 2,
I think before we leave this particular subject, I would like to have a round of applause for the deputy and the sheriff's department. What a great way to start a meeting. Very well. Now we move on to our next agenda item, and that is public comments. Are there any members of the public wishing to address the commission on any issues that they find important to them? Please proceed. By the way, anyone who comes up to comment, make sure the light is on. Speak into the microphone, state your name, and then go ahead and proceed with your comments.
My name is Linda Hetzel. Excuse me. 13318 Plattsburgh Road, Kearney, Missouri. I so appreciate this opportunity to speak with you all. I hope it never goes away, and I hope more people use it. It really is a gift. First, a question and then some comments. Can you please expand on or clarify under discussion items what AI policy / information technology means?
Mr. Administrator, I'd like you to go ahead and address that if you wouldn't mind,
It's a
please.
policy, it's internal policy for our staff on how to utilize AI in the most productive way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a whole nest of.
Yeah. Well, I should say it's the
bees.
initial portion of the policy as it will be expanding as things go, as things grow in AI. So.
It's pretty overwhelming. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I asked Planning and Zoning if they had anything in progress or in process about data centers, because I'm concerned about the proliferation of them in the region and across the country. And they are so complicated and seem to be being imposed on communities and often without transparencies. So I've quickly put together some of the considerations that somehow need to be put in place before one shows up somewhere in the county or an adjacent municipality. And I won't read it at you, but I'll summarize it and then give copies for distribution later, if that's good. Clay County and adjacent municipalities should collaborate to require data center transparency and implement strict sustainability measures such as renewable energy, water reuse, cooling, and demand substantial financial contributions to offset infrastructure strain. And the reason I say Clay County and adjacent municipalities is because I'm near that imaginary line between Liberty and Clay County. And we're out far enough, there's a lot of acres, and that's what they need. So I don't want to wake up some morning to bulldozers. Really, the data centers as they're happening are challenging our community quality of life. So things are just environmental and resource sustainability, water management, energy efficiency, resource reuse, and green roofs. So, gosh, I wish someone was requiring all these huge warehouses to have green roofs because they lower surface temperatures by as much as 56%, and that would have a lot of impact on our heat island effects. And they even can be paired with blue roofs for rainwater harvesting. And given the current drought and wildfires screaming across Oklahoma and Kansas, we need to do better watershed management in many ways. Infrastructure and land use, noise control, grid impact, planning and siting, and light pollution prevention. I'm dismayed by the march of light pollution from Liberty and out into our county areas with the sprawl of subdivisions. There doesn't seem to be enough dark sky directed lighting guidance, which would require fully shielded fixtures, low temperature lighting, smart controls, avoid overlighting and glare. I literally drive past spotlights pointed at Plattsburgh Road to get here. They're just terrible. Economic and social impact. Look at community benefit agreements to secure direct financial contributions. So these are investment opportunities for the billionaires who are splashing them across the country. And I don't want the communities to roll over, show their belly, and give tax breaks to these guys. They should pay for the true cost of the facility. And look at a strategic community approach for local jobs and training and infrastructure sharing. And communities should view data center development not just as a real estate deal, but as an ecosystem shaping opportunity to anchor long-term economic growth. And that's just a tiny snapshot. Thank you so much.
By the way, as you mentioned, this is on our discussion item. So if you're, I hope you'll stay for the entire meeting. At that point, we will have the discussion between ourselves, but if you would like to make a contribution to that discussion, please come forward and I will recognize you to speak once again during the discussion, if you see something that is a bit more specific that you would like to address.
About the AI policy,
Yes.
about
about AI, yes.
Oh, boy.
It'd have to be specific to that, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry, wouldn't have to be, or it should be specific to the
It should be
AI
on,
policy?
because you'd mentioned something about that, so I wanted to make sure that you.
Oh, okay. No, my specific concern is about the data centers, because they are so huge and so overwhelming communities across Missouri and Kansas. And Liberty has some already here, down on Liberty Drive. And I only realized it when you drill down into the Courier's headline that talked about lockers or something. So, you know, to me, that isn't very forthcoming to not refer to them as data centers, but that's an editor's decision. But thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other citizens wishing to address the commission? Seeing none. That brings us to our consent agenda. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, good evening. Our amended consent agenda has 6 items on it. The first one is the commission meeting minutes, December 11th through December 15th and December 18th. We also have 2026-40 approval invoice payments for Clay County for the period of January 31st through February 13th. Total of 593 invoices totaling $2,312,934.68. Our next 3 ordinances are all pertaining towards reappropriation and revise of a approved budget for our juvenile department. The first one is the second half of funds of $24,500 for fiscal year domestic relations resolutions fund grant award being moved towards to miscellaneous professional item. The next one is 2026 Ordinance 6, reappropriate and revise adopted budget for approval of $24,450, the second half of Division of Youth Services grant funds, contract with the ER department. And your last one is 2026 Ordinance 7, reappropriate and revise adopted budget for approval of $1,500, second half of funds for OSCA 25-2703-05 grant. And our last item is 2026-47, approval of equipment and support agreement with Tipton Systems, an ongoing service agreement for check scanner equipment and system support with our collector's office. And that would be it for our consent agenda tonight.
Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's consent agenda. Discussion. Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. So that concludes our consent agenda. That brings us to our regular agenda. First item on that agenda is 2026-41. Mr. Administrator.
Yes, 2026-41, approval of invoice payments for Clay County Prosecutor's Office in the period of January 31st through February 13th. We had a total of 16 invoices totaling $5,826.13.
Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2026-41.
Motion been made for the approval of 2026-41. Discussion. Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
I'll recuse myself.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 5 in favor, 1 recusal.
Thank you. That brings us to 2026-48.
Yes, 2020-48, approval of sole source vendor event planning and management contract with Eve Energy. I will have our tourism director, Megan Sawfield, will explain additional information regarding this RCA.
Please proceed.
Yes, thank you for having me again this evening. I feel like I've been up here more recently, and I'll probably be up here a couple more times before the big event happens. So I appreciate you entertaining me as I talk all about World Cup again, particularly about a really exciting event coming up, though.
Megan,
As you see,
pull that microphone towards you.
can you hear me now? Okay. And as you see, the RCA is asking for approval for a contract with the vendor Evenergy, who is going to be our contracted vendor for a watch party that we are hosting on June 16th. And I'm going to click through a couple slides here. Let's pull back a little bit and just remind ourselves why this is a big deal, why World Cup is so big this year. This is a slide that I use in a lot of my presentations. I always start out with how many days to go, and it is 112 days to go before the tournament begins. It'll be here before we know it. A couple of differences between the 2022 tournament and the 2026 tournament, a couple of major differences, is one, we are hosting this in 3 countries, 16 cities, and you have quite a bigger group of federations that are now going to be in the tournament. We are up to 48 teams, which previously were at 32 teams, so it's quite a big jump there. The tournament spans 39 days. Previously it was 29 days. So again, every facet of this is much bigger and grander than before. We will have, as you can tell, 104 matches, up from 64 matches. So we're jumping drastic measures to this from the last tournament to this tournament. And one of the latest stats that came out that just quite frankly blew my mind was the last item there is FIFA has received over 500 million ticket requests. This is what they're calling the world's largest event. I don't think they're off the mark with saying that. So I thought we'd start really big with why this is so important and then go into a little bit more about the regional effect and the impact that we should see around here. I'm gonna re-hit some of these numbers we hit last time just to kind of remind folks. They're still estimating at least 650,000 visitors to our region, 2.5 hour hotel radius. That means they're going to be booked out approximately 2.5 hours around our city. We do have 6 matches. Base camps, I had to update this because we have some new exciting news. We are now potentially going to have 4 base camps, 3 of which have been confirmed. And I'll say the 3 that have been confirmed are within the top 7 teams in the world. It's a really big deal. Thank you. I've been holed up behind my desk. I haven't even seen the news. Thank you, Commissioner. Algeria was confirmed today. All 4 are confirmed. We only had 3 in the directory, so to have 4 base camps is almost unheard of. We're extremely excited about that. I will say another stat that I just had to look up recently because I'm like, okay, the Super Bowl just happened. What was the average viewership of that? That's our biggest event in the United States. So the average viewership for the Super Bowl that we just had was 125 million views. We are talking for the Kansas City matches alone, 1.5 billion. When they say we are under the spotlight, we are in the spotlight in a very, very big way. So we are so excited to capitalize on that in any way that we can by bringing our communities together. Here's a slide on those base camps. It has a little bit more information. You can see Argentina is going to be at that Compass Mineral National Training Center. England picked up Swope, which wasn't even in the directory, so that was a big surprise. The Netherlands, that's the one we're really excited about because that is going to be at the Casey Current Training Center. And they have a huge following. Their Orange Army does a march into the match, and it is a tradition, and I'm so excited to see them come here to our region and do their march into our stadium. And I'll have to add a check mark to that last one. Here is our event series. So what I've done is I've overlaid both the US matches and the matches that are hosted here in Kansas City. And through the collaborative effort of Clay County, Platte County, and the extremely supportive municipalities that we've had throughout the year and a half that we've been meeting for Go North and under the Go North brand, we've put together 7 regional watch parties. This is going to be a traveling watch party, marketed, branded with Go North KC. We're pushing it out in a very, very big way. We are so excited to have it move around the region to give all these communities a chance to shine and showcase what is unique and special about them, and to have a great opportunity for families to join in the energy and excitement that soccer brings. So I wanted to share that schedule with you. That is also available on gonorthkc.com, which just went live this weekend. So that was another big, exciting move. We're glad to have that up. Of course, we're still adding to it. We'll be adding to it as more details come out about each watch party. We have secured some of the event times, but as the last couple trickle in and the event site maps come out, we'll be adding that to the website as well. So our event is going to be hosted at Central Bank Sporting Complex. These are some of the items you'll be able to see at all of the events. They're going to have food trucks, family zones, think like the bounce houses and the fun things for kiddos, soccer challenges. We're really trying to work with our local soccer organizations. Everything we're trying to do is to pull in the community in any way possible. So the local soccer clubs, they have a chance to shine at these different watch parties and hosting these soccer challenges. We'll of course be live streaming the match. We're going to do a pop-up tournament-style T-shirt, and the T-shirts are actually going to be designed by local high school students. We have a contest going on right now we're super excited about. Every high school student in Clay and Platte County is eligible to participate in this. We'll have the top designs sent to us and available for a public vote. The winning design will be the look and feel of Go North KC at that booth, and then we'll have some customizable ones for each location. We're gonna work to have a pet-friendly give back. Purina is an official Kansas City sponsor, so we love that idea of giving back to our pet community as well. That's gonna look a little different at everyone. Some might just be, how do we support our local organizations? Those that have actual, dog parks might incorporate those, so we're excited about that. We're very excited to have a zero waste event. I think this is such a good movement for all of our public events. If we can work towards this is a great thing and helps us be sustainable for the future. We have a 20-foot art installation in the form of an inflatable soccer ball that will be traveling to each event, so we cannot be missed. We're hoping this one might even be able to be seen by 152. I'm hoping that we can put it in a place that anybody driving can see it and pull over and see what this is about. We are also having custom murals done with the greatest of all time soccer players as determined by the public, so that's really exciting. We're working with a local artist for that. I do have, this is just for example, let me get over here, what a potential layout, let me go back. What a potential layout could look like. Again, the whole point of working with Evenergy, these guys are pros. They have put on several large-scale public events. There's not a lot of folks in the area that can put on an event of this magnitude in 112 days, which is what we're asking them to do. Very hard to source vendors these days, but this team is very capable, and we're excited to work with them to pull the trigger and start aligning out all of these different activations and activities at our event. Again, our particular match is Argentina versus Algeria. The kickoff of that game is 8 p.m. We're thinking that event is probably gonna run from 5:30 to 10:30. Should have lots of stuff for anybody, come and go, but obviously stay for that match. It's gonna be a great one. That's Argentina's first match. And Argentina, if you didn't know, was the reigning champions. So we really wanna see them come back and take to the pitch again, as they say. In marketing these events, so Go North KC, we've got the collaborative brand, we have the website live. We have just kicked off the first of many of our ads and marketing campaigns. We've got billboards up, we've got digital ads in your social media, your Google. We work with Heartland Soccer Association. So I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of that as well if it wants to go the right direction. Here we go, bear with me.
It's match day for soccer's main event in Kansas City. Families everywhere, total fan frenzy. But what's this? Now they're looking to kick back after the kick-off. Somewhere to take their fun into extra time. A relaxing recharge from the raw. Family fun away from the fan chaos. Maybe mom and dad even enjoy a pockets. Go! North KC!
Or the getaway you're shooting for.
Kansas City's Northland.
Plan your trip at GoNorthKC.com.
So that's a little sneak peek of some of the ads that are out. And if you happen to drive south on I-35 from Liberty, keep your eyes up around the Pleasant Valley-ish exit. We have a new digital billboard that just went live. So look for that bright green billboard. More to come on the campaigns. I'm happy to share with this commission anything that you'd like to know World Cup related and Go North related. Do you have any questions?
See no questions. I do want to say that we appreciate the hard work you're doing on promoting this. I was there for the Northland Chamber event earlier, where you and your counterpart from Platte County presented a lot of this information. And you guys are everywhere. You really are. And that's a great thing, because this is one of the opportunities we have as not just Clay County, but as a Northland to really shine. And it's that partnership with Platte County, I think, that makes it a particularly great event for us. So, Commissioner Lawson?
Yeah, the only thing you didn't really touch on the contract, actually. So what is this firm going to be doing that we're paying this kind of money to them?
Certainly. So the firm is going to be, it's pretty much a turnkey situation with this firm. They're going to be managing the vendor contracts. They're going to be sourcing the vendors. They're going to be on site during the event, running the event. They're going to also help market the event. They're going to help us source more sponsors for the event or community partners for the event, as well as anything related to the event, the setup, the tear down, the DJ, the live entertainment, you name it.
Okay, so we're paying them in the amount of not to exceed 120,
Correct.
right? $120,000. Okay, all right. And then what portion of that does Platte County pick up?
So Platte County has already contributed to our World Cup fund. Those funds are available, and we will be earmarking these for the event. We are also looking to receive some grant assistance with this event, as well as outside sponsors. So it won't just be Clay County and Platte County. We're looking for additional funding as well.
Okay, but this is our portion.
That's the total amount.
What?
That's the total amount for the event.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying that's what we're paying.
So that's a total amount for the event. In theory, because Platte County has already contributed to our funds for World Cup, half of that is being covered by Platte County.
Okay, so half of that
Correct.
130 was from Platte County, right?
Correct.
Okay, all right, didn't say that, so I was concerned. Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, so I want to follow up on a little bit what Commissioner Loss was talking about. So from a taxpayer's perspective, we're going to throw a party that's going to cost about not to exceed $120,000. Now, I know the answer to this, but I want you to explain to our taxpayers why we would want to spend $120,000 on a party.
Certainly. One thing, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be part of this event that's coming to Kansas City. Kansas City is taking part in hosting the world's greatest event. So we want to be a part of that. But more importantly, we want to give folks an opportunity to spend time and their dollars in our communities. So by hosting these large family-friendly events, it allows us to shine a light on our communities and encourage folks to come and stay and spend in Clay County and Platte County because it's a joint effort. But again, that funds, that dollar amount you're looking at, you got to draw a line down the middle of that. Half is covered by Platte, half is covered by Clay. There's an additional unknown amount that will be covered hopefully by a grant that we have applied for. And then on top of that, we are seeking out and have already received commitments from some local community sponsors. So we're working to offset that as much as we can, but also put on a really enjoyable family experience for our visitors and our locals.
So if I'm hearing you right, Clay County's portion could potentially be less than $50,000.
Could be.
Maybe much less than that, possibly.
Exactly.
And then you're expecting there'll be somewhat of a return on this investment in the form of the visitors and what's spent here in the county and that kind of stuff. Has any kind of
Correct.
analysis been done on that? Any rough estimates on what we expect?
Because
I know it's
nothing
difficult.
like this has been ran in the past, it's very hard to nail that down. It's very hard to put a number to what that looks like. You know, how many people are going to be here, how many are locals, how many are visitors. But we will have some data after the fact that we'll be analyzing to be able to tell that economic impact or drill down a little bit more on the economic impact afterwards.
And it gives Clay County some exposure.
Excellent
To
exposure.
a lot of folks that are from out of town that could come back again.
And to add to that, this is a free family event.
Right.
So it's a free event, but also they're sourcing local vendors. So the food trucks, that will not be free because that's not paid for by it. But those are local vendors, local businesses, small businesses who have the opportunity to market to our families as they come in and others who might come around to take advantage of the opportunity.
All right, thank you. I'd move to approve 2026-48.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2026-48. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson? Commissioner Carpenter? Commissioner Withington? Commissioner Lawson? Commissioner Wagner? Motion passes, 5 in favor, 1 recusal.
Thank you. That brings us to there are 3 items that were added to this evening's regular agenda. We will start the first of those 3 items. That would be 2026-42. Mr. Administrator.
Yes, 2026-42, a resolution to reappoint members to Developmental Disabilities Resource Board Commission. We have 3 who are termed limit currently, and re-up those terms, which will give them another year term, which will expire in January 31st of 2027. I have Stephen Elliott, Alan Lee Naylor, and Janet Marie White.
Thank you. Commissioner Withington?
Yeah, so usually we get an email sent to us with the application and the background and everything on these applicants. We did not receive that this time. I don't know anything about these people, so I don't think it's appropriate to just rubber stamp them on the consent agenda. So that's why I asked to have it moved to the regular agenda. So Commissioner Nolte, can you tell us why you reappointed all 3 of these and what their background is and how they're qualified to serve on this so we can make an educated vote?
Before I get to that, were the notices not sent out to the commission?
It was the emails forwarded to the commission stating these items, but there was no applications tied because these were reappointment of the boards. These have all been members on the board before who already had applications beforehand. So there was an email sent, but not with the applications regarding them.
I think in future, I think we need to try to make sure that we do attach those because I believe it's the case of all of these individuals, we ended up, I ended up requesting new applications from them because we had recently updated our applications. I wanted to make sure that they were the latest versions for commissioners to be able to look at.
So all 3 of these people you're saying, did they even fill out the application?
My understanding is they did, Administrator?
Some have not because they were previous applications of reappointments. But if the desire is for all of them to fill out applications, we can do that. It's no problem at all.
Okay.
So are we allowed to vote on them if they haven't applied?
I don't think there's any rules that negate you from voting on them as far as application-wise. The applications will give you updated information about who they are and where they're from, being that all these were members who have been serving on those boards going forward and been there before. It would be up to you as a commission if you desire to vote on them tonight or not.
So then, Jerry, can you give us the background on all 3 of these, on what their qualifications are and why we should reappoint them to this board?
Yeah, well, they've all served on this before, as was stated, and they've all done a wonderful job. Mr. Elliott, in particular, in fact, I had reached out to him this morning, and so was it this morning or yesterday? Anyway, I had reached out to him, and he's been very responsive. People on this board are generally people who have a family member. I believe all of them do. Yeah, who is someone who has a disability. So they have some firsthand experience on that. Their expertise lies in the fact that they have been doing this for some time and that they have a very good track record for having put together projects like the housing that's taking place to house individuals with developmental disabilities. So I would encourage you to, if you have any questions of them specifically, to reach out and talk to them.
Well, yeah, but if we're going to vote on them tonight, can you tell us like what their background is, like other than that they have a disabled relative or something? Like what's their occupation, stuff like that?
I'd like to have their applications in front of me before I would do that. I don't think they are attached to our packets. Are they, Mr. Administrator?
They're not attached to your packets. No, they're not.
Okay.
So then can we table this for a week until we can get that information? I don't have a problem with them. I just want to make sure we're voting on the correct, I want to make an educated decision on, before I make a vote. So then I guess if we can get
excuse me, Commissioner, before I get the sense you're getting ready to make a tabling motion. There is at least one commissioner who'd like to come. Could you hold on that?
You could be able to get that to us this week?
That would be up to those people that will be filling out those applications.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, I can give you the applications that we currently have on file. If you like for each of the one to fill a new application, I'm fine with doing that. We'll contact each of them, but I cannot promise that they will have that information back to us by the end of this week.
I'm not necessarily in favor. Okay, if you can get that to us, like I'd go ahead and vote for them tonight. But if we don't have anything, I just don't feel right voting for people that I don't know what their background is, stuff like that.
Commissioner, are you
Yeah, I'm done.
for the moment? Okay, and I will re-recognize you if you would like to make that motion, but let's go ahead and go to Commissioner Lawson.
Okay, here's the only question I have. So it says that their term is expiring January 31st of '27.
That's the renewal.
Huh?
That's the renewal.
That's their renewal?
That would be their,
So
should they
for-
be,
For 1 year?
yeah, should they be put in, back into place, that would be their expiration date. Is that correct, Mr. Administrator?
That is correct.
I was surprised, because we usually have a longer term.
It does seem a bit
So that's
short,
what I
yeah.
was asking. It's just a 1-year term on each of these individuals. Okay. Okay, that's all I had on that one.
Are all the individuals on this board just 1 year, or is it just these three, or what?
Go ahead, please, Mr. Administrator.
My understanding that I'm only aware of these three, but as far as one-year terms of everyone that's on that board, I cannot tell you offhand, but I have to look at that.
Commissioner Johnson?
How many are on this board? Do you know?
I'm thinking 9.
I don't
I
have the
can pull
exact
that
number.
up right quick if you got a moment.
So it's more than 3, so they're not all,
Oh.
no, they're not all expiring at the same time.
That, yeah, we, something that we've been working on for a couple of years now is, in previous commissions, there was a tendency to appoint a lot of people all at once. What we've done is, and I think, Mr. Administrator, we've worked through the entire list. I think we've got everybody back on a
Staggered term,
staggered,
yeah.
which we feel is very important.
So one more comment I have, it's more of a comment than a question, and that is, this is one of 4 boards that we have that happen to manage a lot of money, a lot of taxpayer money. We're talking millions of dollars. I'm thinking the Developmental Disabilities Board, I want to say somewhere between 5 and 7 million that they handle. I know the Children's Board is about 13 million. You got the seniors and the
Mental health.
yeah, mental health. I think those are all around somewhere between 5 and 7 million each as well. So my concern is when we have people on these boards, that we have, good oversight as to how those taxpayers' dollars are spent. And there's some feedback on a fairly regular basis to us, or maybe our auditor does some formal audits on those. I don't know if he's here or not, does some formal audits on those boards. And I'm not familiar with if we have a regular audit process in place for these boards or not, but it's certainly something that I think would be important, since there's so much money, taxpayer dollars, that are being doled out by these people that we appoint here. And to Commissioner Withington's point, we're going to appoint people to handle millions of dollars for us, and certainly would want to know a little bit about the background and the ability to handle millions of dollars, which I think is important. But I'll just leave it at that. I just think it's an oversight we need to make sure that we have, and that there's some kind of checks and balances in place. I know one of the boards, I'd heard some complaints recently, and one of the boards of the way that they're spending the money, that it's all going to one source when it should be going to another source. So just some grumblings in the background, I guess, that I'm hearing. But just some thoughts I throw out to the rest of the commission to think about.
I would certainly welcome comments from any commissioners once these names have been forwarded. Unfortunately, it sounds as though there was those applications were not included as we would hope that they would be. But I would be happy to talk with any commissioner once those names come out. This is really, I don't mind talking about them now, but if I could know if someone has some apprehension, that would allow more time for us to discuss this at more length. So I'm trying to think, I'm thinking through the rest of the list of nominees. I don't think I've been approached by any of the commission members on any of them. I may be mistaken on that, and I apologize if I'm remembering incorrectly. Commissioner Lawson.
Yeah, the one thing, you bring up a good point, Commissioner Johnson, because we've talked about this. On these boards that are handling so much money, children and seniors and disabilities, we need to set something up so that they come to us and give us a report every so often and say, this is where all the money is going, and so that we know what we're handing off. And I'm sure you take disabilities. I was real acquainted with that board some years ago, and the people were very dedicated because they did have someone who was disabled, severely disabled perhaps. So that was a great thing. But I think it would be nice for us to get some kind of a report that shows us how the money was used. And that should be an absolutely yearly thing, so that maybe before we do budget, you know, so that we can see how that money's being used.
No, you're absolutely correct. In fact, I've gotten with the administrator, and I want to start that very process going. I believe it's next week we will be looking at the Children's Board Fund. We will have the chair of that body come before us and be able to make a presentation and answer questions. In fact, I talked to him this afternoon to make sure that he was set for that. So I think that's a great suggestion, and it is being implemented. We can't do all of them at once because it would be so overwhelming. But yes, that will be starting as early as next week. Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. Maybe the administrator can answer this question. Who provides staff support for these organizations, whether it's this group that we're talking about now, but we mentioned children's services, the Children's Fund, mental health, and so on. Who provides the staff support for those different bodies?
We don't have anybody in particular that's assigned to each committee, but myself and my office were made available to them if they need some staff support regarding items. Like for instance, this one here, someone asked earlier how many members. It's 9 members of the board. All of them have 1 year as far as the term, and actually we have a couple of them have 2 years because they go off on 2028.
Gotcha.
But for what we're planning on doing is looking at all of those committees to see what it is regarding staff support and what the requirements are.
So,
as Commissioner Nolte mentioned earlier too, we've already started looking at that, having them come and give reports to you as a commission. And the ones we're starting with first are the ones who are getting funding directly from me as a commission.
Gotcha. So it's kind of bring that more broadly. Is it correct to say that? So we'll take this body for example. This body receives some funding. They are their own decision-making body. They decide who they hire or contract with to support their commission or their committee. Okay, and everybody else does it the same way.
Yes. Well, certain ones with funding that they receive.
Gotcha. So I guess it suggests just the kind of to the prior answer that you gave. It probably becomes important to us to have our own representative, whether that's you or whoever you designate through your office, because I think that may be part of the disconnect as to what's everybody doing. Well, we kind of find out after they do it or whatever. And even though we don't have the ability to tell them, here's how you spend your funds or whatever, it probably does make a whole lot of sense to have some representation there to at least be able to observe the decisions they're making, how they're making, or to find ways where we can help them run a little more smoothly, shall we say. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any further questions or discussion? I just want to say, like I said, these are put out for a reason in advance, generally about 2 weeks. And again, I apologize if I've missed somebody reaching out to me, but I don't believe I've had any member of the commission have any questions whatsoever on these individuals or any of the others. I am obviously quite willing to sit down with any commissioner and talk about applications and the rest of it. I will make time, and if we cannot get a satisfactory answer, then I will ask that nominations be moved to a subsequent meeting. If during the conversation I can understand where a commissioner may oppose a particular nominee, and that is absolutely valid. I can't hold it up for one commissioner, but if there are issues raised that need to be cleared up, I certainly have no compunction about delaying the nominations until, at the very least, any questions have been answered, and whether that satisfies the concerns of any individual commissioner, we can still go forward, and obviously we can also have these discussions further. But like I say, I would, and I've said it a couple of times now, I would absolutely encourage all commissioners that are interested in a particular board, whether it has to do with administrating funds or anything else, to please come to me. I've asked any number of times for help on staffing commissions, and I've gotten some, boards and commissions, and I have gotten some, but I would always welcome the input of commissioners. Commissioner Lawson has in the past had some recommendations, I believe, and I think we sat down, we talked about them, and I believe your request was honored, and that individual was nominated. So I would once again ask the commissioners to be involved in this process. While I am the one who nominates them, I don't want to work in a vacuum if it's at all possible.
So Jerry,
Yes, sir.
one thing is you tell us to come talk to you. I've sat here for 4 years now. Megan, every time this has come up, Megan has said she's been asking for years. I mean, you're looking at staff and you're telling staff, why didn't they send the email? You're the one who asked these people to apply. You should have also worked with staff to ensure that, so don't pass the buck off on Damon on this one. You should have made sure that these guys applied. You should have made sure that all the information was given to Damon beforehand. I mean, that's on you too, right? Megan's been, when I first joined this body, the very first thing when we went through applicants, Megan said, why aren't we seeing everybody that applied for this? Why aren't we seeing their qualifications? I mean, we've been beating that for 4 years, and I mean, that's on you too. That's just not staff. So
I have asked to speak with you on a number of issues individually, and you have been reluctant to interact with me, and I am sorry that that is the case, but know that my door is always open. If you have a concern, come into
Jerry,
my office and we will speak to one
A lot
another.
of things we can't talk about in private, we have to have public conversations. So that's why I asked to have these removed from the consent agenda, because you didn't give any information to staff. Staff didn't provide us any information, so we're having a public discussion. Not everything has to be talked about behind closed doors with you. We can have public discussions too, Jerry. It's fine.
Well, as I
It's gonna
said,
be
the
okay.
example of Commissioner Lawson coming to me with a nomination idea, it's not necessary for her to do it in public. She can come to me and say, Commissioner, what do you think about this person? We talked about it, and I don't think the conversation between Commissioner
well,
Lawson and myself was
That's
improper in
fine
any
that you and
way.
Commissioner Lawson had a conversation, and then you guys traded, worked out a deal to trade spots on certain boards.
No, that's not what I'm referring
So,
to.
Okay. Probably talking about the Parks
But
Board
also,
3 years ago.
please
Hey, Jerry,
recognize that you were talking about a sitting commissioner. When you're talking about Commissioner Lawson, please extend the respect to her that I think she deserves.
I said another commissioner. Commissioner
Please
Lawson and I
proceed.
are really good friends. There's no disrespect here at all.
But you were kind of referring to her as maybe a backroom deal.
No,
Commissioner
I said you
Lawson
worked
does
out a
not
deal
do
to
that.
swap roles. Everybody knows. You swapped planning and zoning for EDC. That was here in public. Everybody knows that. We're not talking about a backroom deal. Anybody that pays attention followed it for 2 weeks. Anyway.
Continue, please.
So, I think it's on you also to make sure that these people, staff, get the information. So I don't have a problem revoting these people, but I've asked you what their backgrounds were, and it's kind of concerning that you can't even tell me what their background is other than they had family members with disabilities. So can you tell us exactly why these guys would be a good fit other than that? Like, what's their background, what's their occupation, stuff like that?
I would have their resumes in front of me.
Well, you should, you know them, you made the nomination for them. You should know this without looking at their application, right?
You know, I don't want to tell you. I've known them all, not Mr. Naylor so much, but certainly Mr. Elliott and Ms. White. I have known for
Let's
some
start
time.
with those two. What are their occupation and why should they be on this role?
I do not have that information in front of me, and I would rather, if I would have known you were wanting to have this information, I would have prepared for our discussion.
Well, I would have liked to have had it before we came out here for a vote.
Do what you will.
Okay.
Commissioner Lawson, I believe you're next.
That's me. The only problem I would say that I think would clear a lot up and make everything run more smoothly is something that I suggested 2 years ago. When we've got these folks that are going to run for these boards and they want to be reappointed, evidently it means something to them. So we want to give them the opportunity, but I think when they say they want to be reappointed, or they're coming up to be reappointed, then before they're notified or talked to, that would be the perfect time for an email to come out and say, okay, you guys, we've got 3 boards. Here's the people that are going to be reappointed before they're called. Because once they're called and they're advised that you're going to be reappointed and it's going to be on the agenda, you don't want to make those people feel uncomfortable by asking, oh, wait a minute, you know, I don't know this guy, I don't know anything about him, blah, blah, blah. So I think if from the get-go, before they're even advised that we're looking at reappointing, send it out then to everybody and say, okay, here's the 3 that we're looking at. Do you have anybody else? If you do, they better get their application in and their background. And then we can get these 3 individuals or whomever. You go ahead and send that out at the time, like he's saying, at the time before these people are notified or we're even talking about it. That way everything's done way beforehand. If there's new people that we want to put on, then great, we send that on to the administrator with the new app, and they'll get the new application in. And then we can look at maybe 5 or 6, and then delegate those that we feel are the most viable for the role. And it gives everybody a chance to have input. By the time that goes out to us without any background, then we're just kind of shooting blind here. And, you know, in the past, I've gone ahead and said yes, because I felt like I didn't want to embarrass them and make them feel bad. So that's just a suggestion, but it'd be great.
But you make a very good point, and that is this. I've run into situations to where I have had someone who wanted to be on the board. I've talked to them, and had the application in, and I was preparing to nominate them, and then subsequently it turned out that they were lacking in one of the qualifications.
Sure.
So I had to go back and say, I'm sorry, but I cannot nominate you. That is it uncomfortable? Yes. Is it a part of what I have to do as part of my job? Yes. So it doesn't matter. My personal discomfort does not play into this.
No.
But the other thing is this. When you made that one nomination, or excuse me, that one request that I nominate somebody, you knew about it because what you did was you went back and you looked at our website, which has all these boards and commissions and expiration dates. Yeah. You took the trouble to educate yourself and to get ahead of the process.
But the one thing is, I didn't know if somebody else had somebody also that they wanted. Mm-hmm. And until we have that process where we know in advance before anybody's spoken to. Now, you know, some people are going to come up and say, I'd love to be on this board.
Of course.
And you're going to say, well, send your application in.
Yes.
You know, we need to scrutinize and then we'll make the appointment. But for us, when everybody has somebody, they don't know it's too late unless we do it in advance. That's all I'm saying. I think, you know, renominating people is good. They have a background in it. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I think we just renominate. It'd be kind of nice if there was some fresh blood coming in. And like I say, all I'm saying is do it in advance before anybody's talked to, and give everybody a chance to send their people in with, you know.
Well, the two things that I would make, one is that I thought the process that we had set forth was that when those nominations were sent out, it would also include other applications that came in. I think that is something that would be something of a I think that helps. I think with that in place, I think that relieves that concern. But once again, it's hard for me to, you know, the idea that, you know, these are important boards, and as Commissioner Johnson said, they deal with a good deal of money. If that is the case and that concern is there, then I should be, when these go out, that is the time for these questions to be asked, because then we can drill down a bit deeper, perhaps bring the applicant to, if you had a question about one of the applicants, I would say, phone number is on the application. You should call this individual up, and you should get you should get satisfaction for any concerns or questions.
Absolutely.
That's the process we have in place. When and that is when it should be appropriately done. And also, if it turns out that the individual does not have the support of the commission, and I've had to go to somebody in the past and said, I don't think you have the support. I'm afraid I'm going to have to not nominate you. But the thing is, that could be done in advance in a way that is discreet, causes nobody embarrassment, but still make sure that the commission has to engage. Commissioner has to engage. Did you have anything else before I?
No.
There, Commissioner Johnson.
I think I agree with Commissioner Lawson on several points there. I think, unfortunately, this conversation keeps coming up here, and I think the underlying problem is the role that many of us in the commission think that the presiding commissioner has and what you think your role is. And what I mean by that, for those who don't know, who are listening at home, the presiding commissioner has the ability to nominate people to these boards, but we have to approve that. The communication is the problem here that I see, and from what I understand from you, you want to be able to nominate people, and if we have any questions about that, we need to come to you and ask you about that. I think a lot of us feel just the opposite, like, no, you need to push that information out to us. And that information is not getting pushed out to us. So we'll come and, we'll read these. I usually get a little bit more preview than the rest of the commissioners because I'm the pro tem, but for the most part, when these agendas come out, a couple days ago, that's the first time that many of the commissioners even see who's being appointed, and then, like Commissioner Whittington said, knows nothing about it. And so, do we want to question these people and their background in a setting like this, or do we want to know ahead of time? And if my thought is, and I think most of the commissioners will agree, correct me if I'm wrong, they'd like to see, hey, you know what, you've decided to nominate these 3 people, push that out to us ahead of time, let us know, hey, I've nominated these 3 people, and this is why, this is their application that they've submitted to us, and this is what their background is, and then if we have a problem with one of your nominations, we can have that discussion with you. We can give you a call and say, Jerry, listen, I got a problem with so-and-so because of whatever reason. But first, that information has to be pushed out to us so that we know who it is we've been talking about. And we're not getting that information right now. And I don't actually think it's the county administrator's responsibility. I think you need to, when you make a decision, push that out to the rest of us so that we know who you're nominating and why.
I think you're wrong on a couple of points. Point number 1 that you're incorrect on is according to our Constitution, and I think it is a good thing. I am required, and I think it's a good thing that I am required to consult with the administrator. The administrator and I do discuss these nominations, and you're right. When we have the pro tem meetings, you are in that discussion, and it's generally speaking. In fact, I don't think generally speaking. I think uniformly, we go through a list of expirations and sometimes nominees, and we go through that.
Right. So what am I wrong about then?
Excuse me?
What am I wrong about? You said I'm wrong?
You were wrong in saying that I decide on my own. I do not. With the advice and consent of the administrator, that's a requirement of this job.
So I didn't say you decide on your own. I said you decide. You're the one, after you talk with him, you can talk to as many people as you want, but you decide who you're going to nominate, and you have a reason why you've decided on that person. And that's what we want to know.
And the other part of that is, again, my impression was that uniformly those nominations are going out, generally speaking, 2 weeks in advance. 10 days to 2 weeks, I think, is what they go out. And if anybody wants to further investigate one of these nominations...
What do you mean the nominations go out? Just the names?
They should have applications attached to them along with, and again, I'm not trying to blame anybody, but I thought the system we had in place was you would get the nominations, say in this particular instance, of these 3 individuals, their applications, and anyone else who applied. That way, the commission is fully informed 10 days to 2 weeks in advance.
You know, I'd actually like to, sorry to cut you off, but I'd actually like to see a little bit more than that. I'd like to see not just the application, but why our presiding commissioner is putting these names before us, what he sees in their application, what he sees in his people that makes him think that these people are the ones that we should approve. And if we had that information, I think it'd be a lot smoother. But I think we're not getting information, you're not communicating with us, and it's very difficult to ask these questions here. And instead, you want us to come to you A lot of times we don't do
Because
that.
I'm not a mind reader, and also, the reason that these go out through the
We're
administrator.
not mind readers either, and that's the issue.
The
You're
thing
exactly
is-
right. You're not a mind reader, and neither are we. So let us know the
But
information.
I'm
Notice-
putting out my side of the conversation. I'm saying, these are the individuals I would like to nominate.
Why?
And if you would, I'm just saying in the general system,
Yeah.
I'm saying that these are the individuals I'd like to nominate.
Right.
If you want to know why,
Okay,
ask
right
me.
there. That's why we disagree. So you're saying if we want to know why, we need to come to you. What I'm saying is most of us say, you know what, we want to know why ahead of time. Why are you nominating these people?
Now, if you want me to put reasons down, that's a change in the system, and I can see changing the system in that manner. So if you'd like to make, if we would like to, and I don't think this requires rules, that requires you letting me know that you would like me to give reasons as well. If that's the case, I don't mind that.
Yeah, so underlying this whole thing, Jerry, I think is just communication. We don't feel like we're being communicated with on these nominations. The commission has said over and over again, we want to know who these people are, why you're nominating these people, and your response is, if you want to know, come ask me. Well, we don't want to hear that response. We want to know ahead of time. You have in your mind, based on the application, based on the relationship you have with them, whatever it is, you have a reason why you nominate these people to these boards. Just share that with us ahead of time, is all we're asking. Just share that with us so we don't have to come to you individually. You can send it out in a blanket email, BCC everybody, and we all know.
Thing is, I really need to work through the administrator. At least
Whatever you
that's-
want to
that
do,
is-
Jerry, as
but
long as we
that
get the
is- That
information.
is the system done. Right now, I'm doing everything that you're asking for, with the exception of giving my reasons. Nobody's asked me to give reasons. If you want, I can start doing it that way.
I can tell you right now,
But I need to know.
there's not a single commissioner sitting here right now that can tell you details about these 3 nominations. Can tell you anything about them. We don't know. I wouldn't know if they're sitting in this room today. Is anybody in this room today that's being nominated?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. I wouldn't know if they're sitting in this room today. And yet we're going to approve them to manage millions of dollars. That's where the disconnect is. And I think there needs to be better communication. And that's always been the struggle, is the communication of why is Jerry nominating, why is our presiding commissioner putting these names forward? I'm sure there's a good reason, but we don't know that reason. We're just basically asked to just give it a blanket okay. And I think some people aren't comfortable with that. And they want, just like Commissioner Woods would say, give us some background on these people. We don't know that. And we should have that before we come to this meeting.
As I said, the applications should be, of the individuals on a particular board, should be in your hands 10 days to 2 weeks. And if that's not long enough, let me know. But they should be in your hands, along with the applications of anyone else who applied. So if I have 3 openings, say as we have on this board, and there are 5 applications, you should get the 5 applications. That is the system that I believe we have in place, and if we don't, then we need to make sure the system is followed. As far as if you would like me to express reasons, I can, through the administrator, express what my reasoning is. But also, this is part of the idea of having pro tem meetings, so you can give me advice in these things and help me to, and I'm not really getting quite this same quality, so I would appreciate it if you could work with me a little bit more closely on this stuff.
We've had this conversation both publicly and privately. Have you read their applications?
I read them when they came in, so I don't have them.
Well, they have an alternate applications.
Yeah, I know, but they have, the things, the ones haven't turned in current applications.
So,
They have
number
other
one, you haven't read their
applications.
applications.
No, I didn't
Number
say-
two, so if you haven't read their applications, there are no applications. And number 3, you certainly haven't forwarded their applications to us because there are no applications to forward to us. That's the problem.
Mr.
We're
Administrator-
just going to rubber stamp them again.
Mr. Administrator, did you mention that they all have applications? Some of them are not current, as I'd asked you to do.
From their previous applications for this board.
Exactly.
Not anything recent.
But let's see what the administrator says.
And what other applicants do we have for this position?
Mr. Administrator, do they all have applications in, even though they may not be up to date?
Repeat that one more time.
Do we have applications on all these individuals, even though they might not be the most current
I understand
form?
we do, yes. All of them were serving on the board before. But I could help. I've listened to each, and I agree. Most of all, on my end, we should have forwarded those applications with these different committee members. No problem with that. Going forward, we will make sure those are done 2 weeks ahead. We have been doing that. We have been sending applications 2 weeks ahead. This one we did not, but it has not been as fluid as it should be. There's a few things I think we need to do regarding this, and I've spoken to both yourself, Jay and Jerry, and along with Commissioner Lawson, that I think we need to review all the different committees. You have 19 committees and boards and commissions that just on this just on the front face of your website. And those 19, all of them have different requirements regarding who they are. One of the questions that Commissioner Wagner asked is, do we have a liaison? Not all of them require a staff liaison. Some of them do, like the airport, the Board of Zoning, planning and zoning, things like that, require to have a staff member because typically that staff member works directly with them to have certain approvals. But there's other ones who have a deeming budget that we provide funding for. Those should be our first priority, which is what I stated. We'll go through those first, provide that information regarding what that looks like as far as who's making that up currently and what they are currently. I know previously, you have tried to work on, and you've gotten in really good order of making it the applications up to date, but also making sure that each of the board of commissions do not roll off at the same time. I can tell you that was probably a heavy load from previous staff because that's quite a few people to look at. But as going forward, we can set a precedent that we make sure we get all applications to you before 2 weeks in decision making. The other portion you asked, I think it was Commissioner Johnson, is the communication between us regarding that, where we could add a portion of that application that Commissioner Nolte or whoever the presiding commissioner, whether it's him or whoever's in the future, could state why they feel like this applicant, so they can discuss that application together and then maybe mark a reason why they get it. Because to me, to do a lot of those and to give you a reason for each person, if we look at the 3 we have now, that would be 7 reasonings regarding emails on what to be done. But maybe you can do that as part of your application. So when you meet, or if we meet with a person who's going to be on that committee or board, they can discuss why do you want to be it, and he can mark it on that application. That might be helpful, so we communicate that to everyone. The other portion of that we look at is, in general, you have quite a few of them who come off, who we're trying to figure out who to go for to get more people to apply. I think there's other pools we could look at, and one of those is our Citizens Academy. We could start looking at it as a potential pool of applicants regarding from there. So in that, I've already asked Dieta to the upcoming Citizens Academy to give them a list of any openings or our boards and commissions as they come about, so they'll walk away at the Citizens Academy knowing what we got as far as boards and commissions. Now, one thing that we could look at, and I think this goes back to Commissioner Johnson, is that when we come up with a grouping of openings coming up, as we synchronize them, give that to you as a commission up ahead of time, so you can make any recommendations to them and let them know these are coming to be at the end. Typically, that's at the end of the year, so we can give it to you probably November, October timeframe, so you can make recommendations to the presiding commissioner, people that might want to sign up and go through those applications during that timeframe. So there's a few things we could work on, and we could provide to you as a commission that could look at going forward. I think would that be beneficial to help it be more congruent as far as our selection process, but also most of all our appointment process for you as a commission.
How many members would you suppose we have all told on all of our boards and commissions combined?
I do not know that number, but on average, some of them have 9, some got 7, some got double digits. So you've got quite a few. If you look at 19, probably 19 times, let's say 19 times 6. So you can look at that. So you're talking close to 100 people. So.
Right. So when I know that there's going to be a discussion, and like I say, the applications should be attached to this. Now, the thing is, that's a system that was set up. That we're not following that. First off, I didn't realize we weren't following that application process, but we need to first off follow the system we have in place. That would be, I think, number one, and then find out what we need to add to it. If the commission would like my opinion on why a certain individual should be either reappointed or appointed to a position, I'm perfectly happy to include that. The other thing that I think, and it's come up a couple of times, and it's something that's bothered me for a long time, and that's this. Particularly on these commissions, and as you point out, they spend considerable money. The fact that they are on consent has bothered me from the get-go, and I've let it go because no other commissioners seem to have expressed that issue except in certain instances like this. I would like to see the practice put in place where all boards and commissions are on regular agenda. That way we can solve some of this issue and make sure that we don't, because I think, like I say, especially in a commission like the DDRB, I'm uncomfortable that we are approving these boards and commissions grouped in with a bunch of other non-controversial. So I would request that in future agendas, all boards and commission nominations be on regular agendas because they should be discussed.
Yeah, just for clarification, Jerry, you control that. This
the
is on
agenda?
consent because you approved it to be on consent. This comes to you a week ahead of time. The agenda comes to you a week ahead of time for approval. Yes, it does.
Mr. Administrator,
it
when
comes
do
to you
you...
a week ahead because I get CC'd on that email where it goes to you. You get it, Brandy will send it to you at least a week ahead of time, or basically for you to approve. And if there's something that you don't want on consent, we're the bosses, Jerry. We decide. And if there's something you don't want on consent, you say, no, I don't want it on consent. I want to move this to regular agenda. So don't act like you wish it could be here. You decide that, Jerry. You can decide that. Let me just close my comments with saying this. I think you do yourself a big favor if you just communicate more with your commissioners, not through a mouthpiece, not through an attorney, not through a county administrator, not through anybody else. Communicate with us directly.
Nice spin.
Talk to us directly. That's what, let me finish.
Go ahead, please. I apologize. Go ahead.
That is the underlying problem with not only appointments, but some of the other issues that we have is we don't talk and hear from you directly on your thought process, what you're going on, what's going on, why you want to do this. Talk to us directly. Let us know what's going on. I think it would save a lot of issues. Now,
two things. First off, a conversation requires both parties. And secondarily, I have reached out any number of times to the commission and said, please, I'm having trouble finding nominations for a board seat. Please help me. And I seldom get any insights. Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. I just note the clock, not because I'm ready to leave, but I do want Representative Allen, who's with us tonight, to be able to have supper at a reasonable hour. But I make that joke because we have spent approximately 35 minutes on this one item. How does one join the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board, which is probably 34 minutes more than we have ever discussed what this board does, how it performs, and how it distributes its funds in the 3 years and 2 months that I have been here? I say that because we may not like how the presiding commissioner goes about his appointments, but I will also say, I got that email 2 weeks ago. I saw the names there, and you know what I thought? Since we're being asked to reappoint people to the board, then the first question should be, how has this board performed? And I had nothing in my mind that said they have done something badly. Ergo, my expectation is then that there would be a request to reappoint them. This is different than in other places or other times when we have had discussions about the Mid-Continent Public Library, the airport, and other things where people raise issues, people raise problems, and at that point then we go out of our way to figure out who should be on those boards and what was that process. All I know is I do agree that it takes two to tango for those dancers out there, and if one is asked, what do you think, then you should be able to either say, I need more information, or if I say nothing, that probably means I am in agreement, or at least I have no reason why this should not happen. So is communication important? Absolutely. Can you do more communication? You absolutely can. There is never an opportunity where there is enough communication, but I at least have to say that when I'm spending more time figuring out why these names came up here and why we've got to do processes differently, and I do appreciate the county administrator just jumping on it and say, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. That's why I appreciate you as county administrator. But I also have to say, my God, if I'm spending all this time trying to even figure out who goes on and less time about what they do, then the priorities in my mind are a little bit skewed. And others may disagree with that, and that's fine. I'm gone in 10 months. You can do whatever you want after that. But that's how I look at this tonight. Thank you.
I think you have a great point, Commissioner, and that is why we've started the program of having, particularly the boards and commissions that are in charge of spending money, come before this commission periodically and, well, annually on their basis, but I mean periodically as far as, we're not going to have one every week, but we have them come in and talk about next week, as I said, the Children's Board Fund. There were some questions raised about that. I think the appropriate way to handle those questions is in a public forum with the individuals who are administering that program and have the best knowledge to tell us what is going on, and then we can give our observations on what we think of what their job performance is. So with that, Commissioner Withington, if you are recognized, sir.
So I disagree with what Commissioner Wagner just said. No one here, I think everybody in this room knows what DDRB does. That's not the point, Scott. The point is we have 3 nominations here, and the presiding commissioner who nominated them can't even tell us why he's renominated them.
Commissioner Wagner, I'm going to go ahead and let you two gentlemen talk a little bit.
I want him to finish.
So no one's trying to embarrass anybody. No, like Commissioner Nolte said, the fact that they nominated, there's 3 people here, none of us know anything about them, and the presiding commissioner can't even tell us here in public why he reappointed them or renominated them. That's the problem, Scott. I mean, Jerry earlier said that I don't talk to him. It's no secret, I don't talk to Jerry. I avoid Jerry. But I did try talking to Jerry a few weeks ago about a secret move that he made on another board, the Kansas City TIF Commission. I reached out to him and expressed concerns about that. Jerry didn't tell me why he removed this person from the Kansas City TIF Commission and I think it was the Smithfield TIF Board. 2 weeks later, he comes out here before the entire world, or whoever's watching us, and he announces that he appointed Scott Wagner to fill a term, but he also failed to mention that he removed another person from that board and appointed somebody. So there's a lot of things that are done in secret, and when we do go to Jerry, he still doesn't answer us, he blows us off. That's why I don't talk to Jerry. Jerry does what's good for Jerry, not what's good for this commission, and I've expressed that, and I'm not starting to fight.
You've expressed it in texts and all that. You've not come to me in person. I've said good morning to you, and you won't say good morning.
Because I have no respect for you, Jerry. I'm just going to put that out there, okay?
I am shocked.
Yeah. So Scott, so the problem isn't that we don't know what the DDRB is doing. The problem is that the guy that made these nominations is sitting right here with the rest of us and can't tell us tonight why he reappointed them. I've asked him, what is their occupation? What is their background? And he can't even tell me without looking at it. Scott, if you're going to prepare for a pop quiz, you probably should have your homework done, right? Without having to go say, I'm going to go look at their application later on.
I didn't know, because I didn't, I think it's, you guys, I want to let you interact.
I respect the commissioner's position and what he has to say. My answer to that is simply, then either vote no, or wait until you get the answers that you want. Again, I don't believe, in my own observation of this body over the last 3 years and 2 months, that even if the county administrator does what he says he will do, and I have no reason to believe he wouldn't do what he says he's going to do, I still don't believe that's going to be satisfactory. I think there's still going to be something down the road that the presiding commissioner has done in this process that is disagreeable. I don't know what that is, but it will come. And so I just go back to what is our obligation, as I understand it from the charter. Either you say yes or you say no. If you say no, then someone else has to be reappointed. But I gotta believe, in my experience both here in this elected position and my prior one, people aren't just coming out of the woodwork to do these. Maybe they will. But if the issue is with the process, and you either believe that process may change or it won't, if you believe it won't change, then my advice is simply either table this until you get satisfactory answers, or just vote no, and then you get the process you want. Maybe.
So Scott, you say we're just supposed to vote yes or no. How can we vote yes or no if we don't know these people's background?
So then that gets back to your option of you can table this
Well,
until
that's
you
what I
get
was
it.
going to do, but other people had something to say, so if I would have tabled it, it would have killed discussion, right?
By the way, I do appreciate you holding your tabling motion in abeyance so that we could continue with discussion. It was something that, and I would hope that the people who are watching might understand. And I appreciate the fact that you withheld that motion so
then
that
since
the
Scott
other
says we've done
commissioners
enough,
could
then
have something to
I make a motion that we
say.
table this until we get further information.
Very well. Motion has been made to table, let me get back to it, 2026-42 until such time, well, just
so,
table it.
okay,
We can always
so
bring
here-
it back.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'll withdraw the motion to table if you can tell us the occupation and the qualifications of all three people. If not, then I want to make a motion that we table it until we can view the applications.
Mr. Counselor, it's not necessary to have a date certain to bring it up. Tabling it is sufficient on its own, correct?
Correct. It can be tabled and it can be pulled off the table in the future.
Very well. Motion has been made.
Well, hold on,
to-
Jerry. I said two things here. I
Oh.
said I would withhold my motion to table if you could tell us the occupation and the background of these three people. Are you saying you can't do that and we should table this until we can get those from them?
I'm going to jump in right here, okay, because we're getting a little wonky. I heard a motion to table.
I did too.
Well, then I
Okay.
said a second. I backed it up.
But I don't think you withdrew it. I think you said, so that's what I was going to say, is if you want to have further discussion, you need to first remove your motion to
Okay,
table.
no, I don't think the presiding commissioner can tell us the answer to the question, so I'll just keep my table.
Okay.
Okay. Let me be sure where we're going here. Your motion to table is in force, is that correct,
Yeah.
Commissioner?
Yeah,
Very well.
because I don't think you can tell us.
Motion has been made to table 2026-42. There is no discussion. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Withington,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner.
Sure.
Motion passes 6-0.
It is sufficient. That brings us to our next item, and that would be 2026-43. Mr. Administrator?
2026-43 is reappointment of member to the Senior Services Board. Charlie Seitz, term expiring January 31st, 2027.
Thank you. Commissioner Withington.
Yeah, so this one I was actually able to find online, her background. So I would like to make a motion that we approve 2026-43.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2026-43. By the way, just to share, she is, as you are certainly aware, and I assume the rest of the commission is aware, she is a retired educator, and that she is not a reappointment. She is a new appointee, I believe.
No, she's a reappointment.
Is she a Oh, no, I'm sorry, you're right, she is, yeah. So with almost 100 people, it's hard to keep total track. Okay, so motion has been made. Discussion? Seeing none. Commissioner Withington, you are recognized to close.
I closed, but.
Please call the roll. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, but going forward, I would also like to make sure that we get background on these board members too.
And again, that should have been done.
I tried to say something, but you said call the roll, or close, so I didn't have time to say anything, so.
Well, when you, just for future, say what you have to say and then close, and then I'll know you're done. That would be
Well,
very
I
helpful.
I didn't say anything about close. You said, do you close? And I said, well, I had something to say, Jerry. So we can play the video back if we need it.
Please, let me know when you close.
All right, I said what I said, now I say close.
So you closed. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Withington.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next is 2026-44. Administrator?
Yes, 2026-44, I'm sorry. Reappointment of two members to the Tourism Board, Kurt Alston and Claire Rogers. Both terms would expire, with the reappointment would expire January 31st, 2027.
Thank you. Could you come up, Director of Tourism, because you are the one who staffs this board?
Certainly. Megan Saalfeld, Tourism Director.
Yeah, please just go ahead and just
So
tell
these
us
are
your experience working
reappointments.
with these individuals.
These members are very valuable to my board. They have great insight. They're a complete asset to my board. I appreciate having them on there, and I would appreciate them being reappointed.
And I believe I consulted with you as well as the administrator on their qualifications and their ability to contribute to this particular board.
Yes.
Commissioner Withington, you're recognized.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything on these two either online, but Megan, I'm going to take your word for it. If you think they're good, I'm taking your word for it. So on Megan's recommendation, I would like to make a motion that we approve 2026-44.
Motion's been made for approval of 2026-44. Discussion. Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. Just, I believe Claire Rogers is on that list, if I'm not mistaken. She does an excellent job for the City of Liberty. I've interacted with her now many times. She does a great job. Thank you.
Very well. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Commissioner, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
All right, and that brings us to the end of our regular agenda. Next, our discussion items. First item is AI policy. That would be, very good. Please proceed. Go make sure your microphone is on.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Kevin Shaw, the IT Director. A team here worked with an AI policy presentation. I want to acknowledge them first. It's Dylan Moore, our IT Security Administrator, Christine Pulse, the Risk Manager, and even Dylan Hughes, one of our IT specialists who recently got his degree in cybersecurity his bachelor's degree from cybersecurity. So I wanted to go over this AI policy, and we're going to start with why. So AI has already been used everywhere, including the county. There's no standards in place right now, no standards governing the use of AI, so we want to try to establish that. This policy is not telling employees how to use AI, it's telling them how to use AI. And it's basically about information security. What AI is and is not, it is not going to be a public chatbot on our website. It's not us recommending that you use this AI engine. We are not, these are some of the things we've heard. We are not replacing any human decision management making decisions. No jobs will be lost. It is essentially an assistive tool to help make decisions. It will help our employees and our citizens. And we want to make sure that we establish these guidelines so that we can use it securely. We have access to public data, we have access to sensitive data, so we want to make sure that we are using public data properly, summarizing reports, but not using any sensitive data that we have access to. The purpose and scope of the AI policy is clearly defined within this policy, but we're using some of the early adopters. City of Seattle, City of San Jose has helped us with some ideas on what we should use for this. Also locally, the County of Johnson County. So they have adopted something. We're closely aligning what we're doing with what they're doing. And there's 6 guiding principles that all of them recommend that we use. So we've established that into the AI policy. All we're asking right now is the next steps that we're going to do. We're going to present an AI policy for you guys to approve. We're going to require training of all the employees, and we're going to create a committee, a cross-departmental review committee to go over different things. That's all I have to present. There's any questions? This is what the AI policy summarizes to look like.
Very good. Are there any commissioners who would like to engage in discussion or pose a question? Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, have you run our policy through AI to see what it thinks? What does AI think about our policy?
Good question. Because I'm not going to say that we didn't use AI. We did use AI. But we did also use that for human decision-making to help us make the decisions and put it in place.
Right. We got a good score.
Good one.
Got a good score.
Are you saying that AI did not have to recuse itself?
Correct.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Thank you. So the document, the plan is to bring it back next week and have another discussion on it and vote on
Correct.
it.
There is an RCA that will be on next week, and there's also the AI policy that I believe you guys have a head start look at. There's only been a couple suggestions from this team here that we've made a couple minor changes to.
Okay. I think what I'll do, because I've got just a couple of areas on that letter. I don't know, did you want to openly discuss that tonight or wait till next week? Because I'm good either way. So, well, let me just ask one question for clarification for me then. First of all, thank you very much to everybody who worked on it. And I think it makes a lot of sense to look at other jurisdictions. Seattle and San Jose are obviously both big tech hubs, and it makes sense to, look there. I ran it through AI too. So really thrilled with it. Glad we're doing it. Good to be proactive on this. To your point, AI is here. It's going to be even more here as time passes. So got to be at the front end of it. I think the policy is really strong in terms of like things like data protection and really avoiding unsafe outcomes in which data could be exposed or lost, and in which we could incur, liability for people who would be displeased that AI caused that to happen to them. One section talks about having some kind of county, an AI program that is somehow managed by the county. So I'm curious about that piece of it, like what that means.
Like an agent of AI that we might have in the future. Right now, we need to establish some guidelines of what we're going to build. This is going to be extremely adaptive. I assume that we're going to make changes to it over the course of time. AI is changing fast. I mean, we can make this a 5-minute discussion or a 5-hour discussion. That's how much AI is out there. And it's a lot of good fun movies to watch as well. But the point, I guess, is that any of the changes, right now, there is no chatbot, no agent of AI, nothing on our website that's doing that. But I'm not going to say never. I think that it's something we definitely could create some frequently asked questions and put them into a chatbot that makes our citizens more pleased with. I don't even have to make a phone call. I can just get on there and chat and get my answers. So I believe that can be done. We're not there yet.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's very interesting. So there was a line in the document about employee use of AI, when they can and cannot use AI, which circumstances, that kind of thing. And one line says, using AI tools for county work prohibited, using AI tools for county work prior to the adoption of a county-managed AI platform. And it's the prohibiting use of AI before the county-managed AI platform piece that I just don't know what that means, to be honest.
Okay. I don't know if I could answer that one. I will say that another thing that we did take into consideration is that AI is, we have a lot of it out there right now on your phones. People are using it before there's this policy, but for employee use, for work here in the county, we want to make sure that there is some guidelines that we establish.
Yeah.
That's really all I can say about it right now. The question you're asking about, I imagine right now, but I don't want to call any specific department out, but you can use Grammarly, for example. Grammarly is AI. And our concern on protecting the data is where is that data? And when we read that and find out that by using Grammarly, you're giving your data to them, well, we shut it down. So we are going to adapt as we see necessary. We don't want to be the department of no. That's not. I want to make sure everybody has the tools they need to do their job.
Yeah, very good. Well, and I think it absolutely, like I said, makes sense to have some rules of the road for how and when county employees use AI, especially in any kind of sensitive data situations. Also in situations around things like enforcement mechanisms, doling out fines. Certainly with the sheriff's office, we would want to be especially cautious about putting AI in control of anything like that. But obviously there are things that are significantly less either sensitive data heavy or that are not things like, doing enforcement actions against people, whether that's planning and zoning, sheriff's office, or any of the rest. And so in more day-to-day use that doesn't involve those things, obviously I would, I want our county employees to have access to the tool of their choice, and frankly want to encourage that to be done when it's for items like that. And so that's just that one piece about waiting on a county managed AI platform. So I'll circle back on that with you and the team over the next week. But that piece did have some questions to me.
Commissioner Carpenter,
yes, sir.
just kind of, I got what you got. I mean, part of why we came up with this, and Kevin's team, along with Christine of our risk manager, is due to risk and due to the information that we have. So a lot of it's probably stringent regarding that one. I got what you're talking about. That's in the prohibited uses portion of the document, and that's basically this platform is what we're passing, which will allow them to move forward and use it, which also includes training. So the objective is to try to give the training so we'll know which type of platforms that they can utilize. And more than that, what we're asking our IT department to kind of give us an idea of those type of platforms, because some, they try to avoid use, especially using county data that's just non-public. And the next one you have was on personal and non-county AI accounts. Objective is to try to not use like something you may use at home to do your daily work, but to take it and use it here for daily county business, which should have different ramifications if that information got out compared to your own home use, to try to avoid that as county employees. So we can, like you said, circle back to kind of make sure if that information is not clear.
Gotcha. No, that actually clarifies the big time for me. Yeah. So the platform being referred to as just having this document in place as a county policy, and then okay, so folks will be able to use it at that point. Because part of it along those lines is if you get too restrictive with how employees can use it, one of the things that's likely to happen is they'll just do it in secret.
Yeah.
Correct.
And what we really want is transparency around when and how it's being utilized, as opposed to pushing it into sort of a gray area in which people want the advantage of the capabilities that AI provides, but are afraid of admitting that they've done so because it's against a policy. So finding that equal balance, I think, will make a lot of sense. I also just want to underline, in the description of this, well, it's not an ordinance, right? What are we calling this? A policy? County policy. So important to me is it correctly identifies that this is a ongoing policy, right? It's not set in stone, and I think that's going to be important, of course, as technology continues to change. We're going to have to keep making changes with the policy. So along those lines, I'll talk just very briefly about AI stuff, because I do you all a favor by bringing it up so infrequently. Believe me, I would do it all the time if you'd let me. But and you probably would. You're very kind. But I try to be cognizant of y'all. So right now, it's interesting timing to be doing this right now. The nation of India, our world's most populous nation, is holding the world's biggest ever AI summit as we speak. It's been going on the last couple of days. And it's a global event that have brought all of the biggest actors and players in technology to one central hub, and they are discussing big topics. The good news is all 4 of the leading AI companies in the world are American companies. They're all right here in the USA. China is on our heels, but all evident we don't have quite as much insight into Chinese business and governing operations. Speaking of transparency, not the most transparent place. But to the best of our knowledge, they are behind and often copying what our 4 leading entities are doing, which is good. Those 4 companies are OpenAI. They did ChatGPT. It's Anthropic, which has Claude as one of the ones you can use. It's xAI. That's Elon Musk and his operation. And the 4th is Google, Google DeepMind. And really, those are the 4. They're light years ahead of any other tech company. And of the 4, by far, the most reserved, most cautious, least hyping, longest timelines in terms of what he thinks happening is Google. His name is Demis Hassabis. He's the CEO of DeepMind. The other 3 are all even more robust in their descriptions of where they think the tech is going. So that's Elon San Altman and Dario Amodei. But even with our most cautious, most reserved CEO of Google, here's what he said less than 24 hours ago. One of the most momentous periods in human history, probably something more like fire or electricity. I think it's going to be something like 10 times the impact of the Industrial Revolution, but happening at 10 times the speed. That's the most cautious prediction of the 4 leading labs. 10 times the impact of the Industrial Revolution. He said that last night in India at the summit. I could read you what the others are saying. They're even more. They predict big things, and so I guess what I would encourage everybody to do, because it still feels like science fiction, and I understand that. But literally every person at the top of these entities are making rather magnificent claims about the trajectory that we're on. And for those of you who haven't read about the Industrial Revolution in recent times, go and read about it. Read about how it completely, radically, utterly transformed human existence and the entire planet. And then imagine doing that again, except 10 times the impact of that. That's what our most reserved AI lab is telling us is coming. So in other words, big time predictions, and it's going to be up to each and every one of us to do our best to stay up to date with what's going on in that realm, and obviously we'll have to work with our risk management team and IT and everybody else to stay on top of the threats that are posed by those capabilities, because as capabilities improve, that means bad actors who want to do bad things now have stronger tools at their behest to do their bad actions. So. The defensive responsibility on government with regard to technology is going to be more important than it's ever been. I think this is a good start. Appreciate Director Shaw, appreciate everybody, Director Pols, everybody who's worked on this, and look forward to ongoing discussions about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Something I think is important to point out, a couple of things. First off, your comments are always appreciated, Commissioner. We have, let us say, more mature generations certainly appreciate hearing your perspectives. So thank you for that. Two things I think that, two of the big points that you made, I think that bear repeating. One was your comparison that you were quoting about the magnitude of change as compared to the Industrial Revolution, which was seismic, and this is going to be much greater, whether it's tenfold, whether it's fivefold, whether it's 20-fold. Significant just falls utterly short of that. The other is that in anything we deal with, the situations are in general dynamic, and therefore, as you say, nothing is necessarily carved in stone. And I think, once again, that is an understatement when it comes to AI and the issues surrounding it. So that is a very good point, that we need to make sure that we stay on top of this. We cannot wait to be informed. We need to take the initiative and become informed. I think that's a very good point. Would you have anything else to add?
No.
Does any other commissioner wish to comment? Very well. That seems to end this discussion. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future. That brings us to our next discussion item. Mr. Administrator, if you'd like to introduce that one.
Yes, our next discussion item is cost recovery policy for replacing damaged county infrastructure. Ultimately, we have our Todd Degenhart, our Road and Bridge Director, brought this policy to me earlier to discuss with you all as a commission, and then move forward from there.
Please proceed.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tom Degenhart, Road and Bridge Director. Excuse me. We'd like to discuss creating a policy regarding our efforts to collect the cost of damages to our assets in the public right-of-way. These assets occasionally get damaged by accident and sometimes even vandalism. Most of the time, the damage is a hit-and-run accident and no incident report is filed with law enforcement. For those occasions when we do know who caused the damage, we like the ability to charge the responsible party for cost and repair and replacement. And I'd like to show you a few examples of what we deal with on damages. So this is a example where a steel track excavator, you can see kind of in the background, recently crossed one of our streets and damaged the asphalt pavement. Some governments, including DOTs, have a code prohibiting steel track equipment on improved roads. This particular incident happened on Baum Road, and the cost of repair of the shoulder, not the whole pavement, is around $589. This slide is an example of vandalism of one of our 1900 crossroad culverts. This is a 48-inch diameter HDPE plastic pipe that was on Shanks Road. There was a buildup of debris in the inlet of the culvert, and the adjacent property owner, rather than calling us, decided to burn the debris to kind of clear the culvert. Ended up having quite a fire. You can still see the burn marks there. Melted the pipe and collapsed about 3 foot of the pavement. The cost to replace this with a new steel culvert, where this won't happen again, which is also our current standard, was about $22,700. So it was a big ticket item. This slide shows 125 feet of guardrail that has been hit several times on North Virginia, just south of 144th Street. Unless the vehicle is disabled, a lot of these guardrails are swipe and hit and run. We don't get a report from law enforcement. The cost to replace this guardrail is about $13,460. We have about 14,000 linear feet of guardrail in inventory. One of the issues with this is, so the next person comes and hits that guardrail and is disabled, and we get a police report. So like, what's their responsible for fixing this guardrail, because it's already damaged and we have to replace the whole guardrail. So there's kind of that debate on how equity, a discussion on equity for getting this thing repaired. This is another example of vandalism. One of our signs, we have over 5,000 signs of inventory in the county. This sign was pulled out of the ground not once but twice by an adjacent property owner. He was a little upset with our road and bridge people out there working. We called a supervisor. He admitted to pulling out the first time. Sheriff's Department was called. Police law enforcement report was made. We left, came back. He'd pulled out a second time, admitted to doing it. So another police report was made on that. The first time to replace that sign was $455. The second time we were able to reuse these street blades, and it was a little cheaper. It was $359. Excuse me. So we also have been working with other departments in the county, including Christine with risk management. And I have a quote from her, so I'd like to read, so I don't think she's in the audience. In summary, from a risk management perspective, this policy strengthens the county's ability to protect both public safety and taxpayer resources. When motorists damage pavement, culverts, guardrails, and traffic signs, inconsistent documentation or recovery practices can leave those costs with the county instead of the responsible party. A policy would establish a clear, standardized process to identify damages, document them properly, and pursue reimbursement. It reduces financial loss, improves legal defensibility, and supports faster restoration of critical roadside safety infrastructure. Ultimately, it reflects strong governance and responsible stewardship of county assets. So thank you, Christine, for providing that. If we get concurrence from the commission or any comments, we'd like to bring a cost recovery policy. May not make it next week, but maybe in 2 weeks. And that policy would include, once we're notified, we go out and inspect the damage. We'd document it, we'd take photographs of it, prepare a cost estimate. If we know who the party is, we'd invoice them. And it would be their choice whether they want to file with their insurance company, rather than us just automatically filing with the insurance company. There might be some exceptions to that, like a medical emergency or natural disaster. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. First of all, Tom, thank you. To me, it's kind of, why wouldn't you do this? But my only question really is how one assigns responsibility and what documentation does one use to do that? And is that really boiled down to a sheriff's deputy's report? I mean, that's the trigger. Right. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. What's the trigger for that?
Well, like I showed that first photograph where you saw that the tractor, steel track backhoe across the street. I mean, it's obvious he did the damage. Mm-hmm. We don't know who was driving it, so we can wait for him to show up and say, "Hey, did you damage that?" If he doesn't admit it, then we can't do anything. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, like that culvert, sometimes a neighbor may witness something. There might be a Ring doorbell camera that does it, but certainly we would probably not act unless we had something from the sheriff's department with an actual report, instant report for those damages. So like I say, if someone said, I saw the neighbor do it, we would call the sheriff out here, get testimony, and then make a determination that way.
Right. Then just a final comment. I think your guardrail example is a good one, and maybe you can explain a little bit further if you can, or maybe you can just take it back, think about it. Because I do think a lot of folks would say, if they're the last person to hit that guardrail, they're going to say, well, I didn't damage that guardrail, right?
Right.
And so unless you've got all the paint of the car actually on the guardrail, I suppose. So I guess my only thought is just simply, I'll be curious to see how you deal with those instances. I'll just leave it at that.
And, guardrails are kind of a tricky subject. We have some guardrail in the county that's turn of the century that's not compliant by any standards. It's out there today, it's grandfathered in. It gets hit, and now it's like, okay, now we need to bring up to current standard, which is a burden on the person that broke it. But from our standpoint, well, that was functioning fine until you hit it. So there's always that, what do we do? So.
Right. Well, and so that does remind me of one last question. So I'm going to assume for a moment that either it will get turned in or you will go after the insurance company or the insurance representation of that driver, user, whatever the case may be. That usually is not a fast process. And so then in the interim, is the expectation then that you'll fix the sign, replace the guardrail, whatever the case may be, with the expectation that there's some level of recovery that will come through that insurance?
Yeah, this would definitely be a reimbursement process. So we wouldn't leave damaged infrastructure out there. We would take care of the repairs and then file. And I think we have reservations about automatically going to the insurance company. I think that's the property owner's choice or the motorist's choice, whether, we hand you a bill, say this is what it costs, and it's up to them to file with their auto insurance or homeowners or whatever the situation just would be. But I think our policy will say that we would send it to the property owner and let them determine whether they file with insurance or not.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. We appreciate your report. That brings us to County Administrator comments. Mr. Administrator?
Yes. Good evening. You might notice some scaffolding around the Rooney Justice Center. We've started our roofing project, which is one of the major capital projects you approved for this upcoming budget year, which is through our facilities department. It's about a $2.7 million project overall. The other one is that we did a pre-construction meeting for our airport roof project as well. The other portion you did with juvenile and another facilities project is some improvements to the bathrooms at the boys' home. We started that project as well. Another one is, I've even verified this with neighbors, that the SB No. 190, as far as getting receipts through mail and seeing them online, you should start seeing those. Last Thursday, during the holiday, we did a fix with the system, which allowed us to be able to put out those receipts, and did a major portion of those last week and have another portion coming this week. So the hope is to get people's receipts to them, which is also ratifying the deposits of those checks and those other items as well. So going through that process, we ask the public to still be patient with us as we're doing those manually, but we're working through what we can with our software, as well as manually doing those ourselves through our staff. So that'd be it for me this evening.
Very good. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Withington, if you'd like to start, please. Thank you.
The only thing I have is it's been a month since all those citizens showed up about the public administrator. I'd like to request that we have since apparently this commission does oversee the public administrator, I'd like to see us have a public presentation on how she's coming along with the audit findings and the recommendations and all the other improvements that she's made in her office.
Thank you. Commissioner Lawson? No. Commissioner Wagner? Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Thompson? Commissioner Carpenter? There we go. You're
Thank you, Commissioner. I have talked about my grandfather before. He was a circuit court judge, probate judge here in Clay County for 25 years. My grandfather's a good man. My mom's dad. And he passed away last Tuesday. has just the most incredible life story, could go on at some length about it. But I'm just going to read a couple sentences from this Casey Star article from 2005. The City Market has a commemorative bricks, and he had a commemorative brick that some friends had gotten for him at one point, and he went and tried to find his brick, and he couldn't find his brick, and they didn't have any system to track where the bricks were in the many that were sold. There were 2,500 of them, and there was no documentation as to where they were. And Raleigh Baldwin, my grandfather, who was, like I said, a judge and a very tenacious man and a very opinionated man, did not like that. And so this is from the article. So nearly every day for more than a month, Kansas City North resident has set up a lawn chair, duct taped a shade umbrella to it, and set to work. It is a tedious job. He reads each brick, looks for it in the old index to find the original grid coordinates, and then records the new row and number location. Compounding the difficulty is that the bricks were yada, 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 goes on. And then my favorite quote from him is, "I complained about it last year, and I complained about it this year," said Baldwin, who had to hunt for the brick purchased by his friends. "I complained about it last year, I complained about it this year. I finally realized I was going to have to volunteer to do something." And then for over a month, he went out with his lawn chair, with his duct-taped umbrella, in his 70s, and did all 2,500 bricks. He was a special man and cared about his community, obviously, and we should all aspire to noble pursuits like this. Thanks.
I think I can speak for the commission when we offer our condolences for your loss. I did not have the honor of knowing the judge. Maybe I met him once or twice, and that does not qualify. But as I'd mentioned to you, or before we came into a meeting, I'd run into your uncle, and he had let me know that. And it is, I think that anecdote that you just recited is especially poignant because it speaks of someone who sees, obviously, whether it's large or small, this was, in the great scheme of things, this was not an earth-moving thing, but I think that it speaks to a gentleman who saw something that he thought was wrong, even if it was small, that there should be that accounting. And he didn't wait around for someone to tell him. He asked, and then he went out and he did. And I think that's something that is an admirable trait. When you act in that manner, in a small matter, I think in larger matters, he, I am sure, acquitted himself with similar grace and honor and hard work. So certainly our condolences to you and your family. Last thing I want to say before we go ahead and close off, it's a little after 8, is that if there is any commissioner who wants to talk to me, my door is always open. If there is any commissioner who wants to question me, I will sit down and talk with him. I've never, I believe, refused to engage in a commissioner on any subject, and I will continue to do that. I would prefer that had I known that we would have an issue with one of these, I would have happily asked it be taken off the agenda and allow the time necessary for that research. That was not communicated to me prior to the meeting, so I did not have the ability to save us, was it 35 minutes, something along those lines? Something like that, yeah. When things are brought up in open meeting and not brought up to me in, in person, I think that gives us pause on motivations. With that, we are adjourned.